once reached for something pure. Now tremble in doubt, I can't endure. A hollow vessel built from pain, cursed to walk through fire and rain. No salvation, no peace inside. Only echoes of the self I hide. Born from ash, forged in shame. You can't kill what never had a name. I was never whole.
Good evening, race fans, and welcome to the beautiful road course of Watkins, Glen International for tonight's HPRL Truck Series Showdown. We are set for a night full of action in upstate New York as drivers from the HPRL series tackle the high-speed corners, heavy braking zones, and always tricky bus stop chicane. Strategy, patience, and precision will all be key if these drivers want to find victory lane tonight. Tonight's race will feature 72 laps broken up into stages. This is a stage league, so points will be awarded each stage. Lap 15 and 35 are going to be your two stages. Lap 15 obviously being the end of stage 1, lap 35 being the end of stage 2. Setting up for what should be an intense fight all the way to the finish. You're watching it all unfold live on Van Broadcasting. Up at the broadcast booth tonight, I am Thaddeus, joined along Trevor the Bama Bullet Dyer, and bringing everything together behind the scenes is my boy Bobby B. Trevor, road course racing always brings out a different kind of driver. Let's go to the grid and see where they're lined up at. Trevor, you want to go through the lead through 10th and let us know where everybody qualified?
Yes, sir. So starting off, the top 10 is going to be the 29 of Jesse Sperling, your pole sitter. Steve Whitmore, the 70 of number 2. 3 is going to be the 34 of Will Moore. 4 is going to be the 43 of Caleb Sibbett. 5 is going to be the 26 of Jared Mann. 6 is going to be the 78 of JD Baker. 7th is going to be the 14 of Emil Duna. 8 is going to be the 38 of Keith Ayers. 9th is going to be the 12 of Chris Griffin. 10th is going to be the 58 of Joshua Baker.
All right. Next, we have the 85 of Jason Baker. Next to him is going to be the 17 of Joshua Robinson. 3, Seth Owens is going to be behind him. The 87 of Jason Steptoe. The 13 of Matt Casbaro. The 83 of CJ Brewer. The 18 of Jerry McKinney. The 1 of Taylor Locklear. The 24 of Christopher Hockley. The 42 of Aaron Longworth. The 61 of Keenan Kimber. And that is going to be your field today. So here we go. Fight down to the finish here at Watkins Glen. We are going green. And out in front already, we're going to have Jesse Sperling. Trevor, he's been kind of a menace here on road courses lately. What do you think of him qualifying in the lead here at Watkins Glen? How's that to his advantage?
I definitely think it's going to allow him to show off some of his speed. Obviously, we know he's fast, and so it's going to give him a little bit of a cushion to where he doesn't necessarily have to fight as much to basically give himself a little gap between him and the field, because we know here at road courses the field really clogs up and it gets spread out pretty quick. And so with him being on pole, it's going to really play to his advantage, and that he can just have clean air on his nose and pull away if he's able to.
Yeah, and as you can see, guys, now we got some Dodge Rams in the field. Recently, iRacing has put out an update, which is one thing that's very interesting about this is, Ram hasn't been in the series for a while. They came back this year, obviously, with Daytona with Tony Stewart. And now iRacing is finally updated to where you can see them in the field. That's going to be an exciting development, and it's definitely going to shake things up when it comes to, different leagues with the scoring of different brands. And I wonder, I haven't gotten a chance to test it myself, Trevor. I don't know if you have, but I wonder how different they drive, if at all, from these other trucks.
Now, if I had to guess, the Ram front bumper, it looks a lot more flat than some of the other trucks in the field. And so I think that could potentially be to an advantage at a super speedway. So I am very stoked for us to go to a super speedway here in the HPRL and show off some more of the talent of these drivers as they already have at Daytona, but really show whether the Ram is an advantage or not at a super speedway.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be. It's definitely cool. I love seeing Ram. Being a NASCAR fan in the early 2000s, seeing Dodge kind of come up. From Ray Evernham having that team to different teams kind of jumping on. Flying Ryan Newman. He started out in a Dodge, and a lot of the other teams like Penske ran them. So it's going to be cool to see how they develop throughout NASCAR and how they come up as we see the 78 here racing, trying to track down that Ram, the 14 of Emil Duna. Duna, a big Tony Stewart fan. I love coinciding a lot of the league commentating with real life NASCAR, because honestly, iRacing is as true to form as you can get to actual cars. So what do you think of where everybody is at right now? I know Jared Mann was the only person that really challenged Jesse Sperling last race, and I saw him running up there in the top three. So, what do you think about his chances tonight in this road course race?
Well, I do think that a lot of it here at Watkins Glen, obviously, it comes down to, do you like road courses? Are you fast there? But then I think one thing that we saw last road course there at Lime Rock is that fuel strategy has a big play in road courses, where we saw, I want to say it was Jared, he was able to take the last stage no pit stop whatsoever, and so that gave him like a 40-second cushion where he had no competition and had an uncontested win. And so I think if we can see a lot of fuel strategy playing out, we will definitely see how that affects the different strategies. But also, I think that we're going to see in road course racing how it was last time as well, where people have a clear advantage if they have pace and are able to pull away from those around them. And with that, it's going to also negate a lot of the wrecks and keeping your truck clean, because that is one of the biggest factors here at road courses, in my opinion, is are you able to pull away and are you able to keep a clean truck? Uh, and then also tire wear here at Watkins Glen, in my opinion, is worse than it was at Lime Rock. So there's a lot of factors to play out here, but I think it's going to be a very similar formula as to what we saw at Lime Rock Park. Oh, as we have a
And
spinner,
Caleb
the
Snibbit around. Caleb Sibbett spins it out of two. So easy to do. Trevor, one of us has done that, and it's not the guy who's not speaking. It's very easy to get very loose off of that last turn coming onto the straightaway, but no caution, no full course caution yet. Caleb gets it turned back around, keeps going.
it
Seven.
almost looked like he got dumped.
Oh, he did. Looking at the replay, Caleb Sibbett gets turned around. By the 38 just hooks him coming out of the turn. I don't know if that was just hard racing or if that was revenge. There was some talk in the pre-race about kind of keeping your tempers together. So we're gonna have to follow up and see if we can figure out if that was premeditated.
Now, I do know there was a lot of tempers flaring last week there at Phoenix. That was the 38 of Keith Ayers. And if I recall correctly, there was a lot of drama going on last week. And so maybe there was some tempers still flaring, hung over from last week. Here in the racing world, a lot of it new week, no new mindset. But one thing about racers, they don't ever forget. Oh, as we see another spinner turn one, that did not look like a dump right there.
Yeah, the one car around, or one truck around, kind of all by himself. Very technical track, and with everybody kind of fanned out, you're trying to track down the person in front of you, but you can't forget like the limit of your tire grip. And that happened in the S's. That could have been a lot worse. He ends up getting away with it.
I will say here at Watkins Glen, you'll see these drivers, they will get all up on the curb and try and cut that course as much as you can. And you can pick up a lot of time in doing that. But the biggest thing, the curbs, whenever you go across them, it upsets the suspension. And so it's very easy to try and use up that curb to get all that advantage. But as soon as you cross the threshold of grip, because of that unset suspension, the truck becomes practically unpredictable in every manner. And so I think we're going to see a lot of,
the 43 gets into the mystery machine of Seth Owens. Matt Casbaro pulls in behind him. Those two teammates racing together now after a hard lick. These guys really not taking prisoners. Caleb Sibbett, not sure if that was aggression. Oh no, Seth Owens making sure that he missed Caleb Sibbett going into the turn. Does a great job of kind of getting that truck rolling again. But good evasion on his part, not costing somebody else a race. I'm sure Caleb Sibbett's already a little bit frustrated from the contact earlier, but not a bad turnaround.
You've gotta imagine that tires on all four corners of that 3 truck are probably about as hot as the surface of the sun right now from all that sliding right there. And one thing I mentioned earlier, this track can really eat up your tires if you don't take care of them. I'm sure we will see him grabbing some tires at this first stage, which is very fortunate for him that there are stages, because if not, that could put him severely behind as far as natural pace with abused tires.
Yeah, tires so critical here at Watkins Glen. So we see the 12. And is that the 38? Kind of duking it out here through the corners. A lot of good racing going around on the track. This race really tight. They're side by side going into those stops. Ooh, 38 gets a piece of the 12, but the 12 will not be denied. He keeps that position as they come around to the front stretch.
I almost thought he was going to go for a crossover there and try and take the outside into that final corner. I mean, he was right there close, if not touching. And so that was a very, very close move on the 38 of Keith Ayers, especially after seeing him dump the 43.
24. Yeah, 24 around on the last turn. We'll give you a view of what he was going through right there. Yeah, just kind of loses that last turn so hard to get out of. You got to really be light on your throttle until the right moment. but a lot of, for the most part, a lot of really safe racing. Even with these mistakes that some of these guys are making, they're still they're still in it. And you know that's a lot more than a lot of guys on iRacing can say. So very impressive the way these guys are kind of toughing it out and trying to learn this track as the laps go on.
Most definitely. It just looks like he got a little too much of that curb there in the final corner. Very easy to do. I mean, it's not easy racing these trucks here at a road course. I mean, obviously these are very heavy vehicles. There's no traction control, no ABS. It's just a man and a very heavy machine. And there's not that much downforce on the tailgate, and so it's very easy to just loop it, either under braking or under throttle. And so, I mean, it's a really big feat tackling a road course in one of these NASCAR, any of the NASCAR vehicles, in my opinion. Even the next gen, where they've kind of modified it to where, with the independent suspension, to be at least somewhat able to drive on a road course, but any of it, it's all because it's heavy and no aids. I think it's a really big feat to tackle a road course with these drivers, and it really shows you the talent, especially considering we've only seen one car-on-car incident.
Yeah, a lot of really good skilled racing here. The 12 and the 38, Chris Griffin and Keith Ayers, they've been going back and forth trading positions this the whole time. Like, this has to be one of the most exciting battles on track. You see Keith Ayers there trying to take the inside a little bit, trying to look, maybe fake him out, get him to give him a low entry. That way he can kind of get the momentum coming out of the corner as they're snaking up through the S's. Meanwhile, up in first, Jesse Sperling has taken off. That is a rocket ship. That Vickers Vickers Auto Parts Chevrolet out in front. Fun fact about that is Vickers Auto Parts is actually going to be our sponsor for the race next week. Vickers is his grandfather's business. He is going to kind of thankfully sponsor the league. So shout out to Jesse Sperling. Thank you for supporting the HPRL league with something that's very near and dear to him, which is grandfather's company of Vickers used auto parts. And he's definitely putting on a show.
And speaking of Jesse Sperling, I've been watching his line for the duration of this race, and from lap one, it is apparent he is taking a different line than the other drivers, especially in turn one. In turn one, you'll see a lot of the drivers sweep it out wide to open up that second corner, which is a very crucial corner for this track, because if you can keep your minimum speed up into turn two, it will allow you to have a better exit in turn three throughout the S's and give you a lot of top end speed. But he's been taking a lot more narrow, which you can pick up probably 2/10 just on it being so narrow. And he's been able to capitalize with that, among other things. He's overall just been in very good condition with this truck, from what I've seen.
Yeah, he has grown his lead over Will Moore. It looks to be around 2 seconds, if not more, depending on the live timing. My live timing might not be accurate. Will Moore in that 34 Dodge Ram. A lot of these guys running some pretty cool schemes with that. Like we saw Emil Duna earlier with the smoke paint scheme for Tony Stewart, the Cummins design. I haven't seen a Cummins design on a race car in NASCAR for a while, so it's really cool to see them come back. As you see back behind him, he's got Steve Whitmore. Steve Whitmore also a huge threat here or at any track. One of the guys we watched in the Winter Series that just absolutely dominated each of those races. But everybody's kind of spread out, got their own line going on. And this is when this is actually the most crucial part of the race to kind of save your truck, because the more you push, yeah, you might gain some time, but like what's the risk versus reward when it comes to mistakes? Like what do you think about that Trevor?
I definitely think the truck that's going to win it is going to be the truck that is most certainly clean. I mean, it's very hard to once you do get damaged, which I know they have fast repairs, but unless you time that really well, you can lose a lot of positions just because of damage, especially with these trucks, how finicky they are at road courses. But also, I think it's going to be the driver that finds that very comfortable line between speed and consistency. And so I think we're going to not find the driver that's necessarily the I don't want to say wild card, but just absolutely pushing it to the edge like you can at ovals. Because I mean, I myself, I love pushing a truck as far as it can go on ovals, but on road courses, you cannot do that with very comfortably. At least you may pick up some qualifying spots, you may pick up a few spots, but if you do that over the course of a race, one, you're going to destroy your tires, and two, you're most likely going to get involved in an accident of some sorts, unless you're, a very talented driver, which I mean, obviously we've seen that so far in this series, but that's my opinion at least. And
Yeah,
speaking
oh, go
and
ahead.
s- speaking of talent, we are actually able to, if we pull up the live scoring, I see there's a 10 almost a 10-second gap between fourth and third place, and third place is 5 seconds off our leader, being and the second place is going to be about 2 seconds off our leader. So we are seeing a spread due to natural pace already, which goes to show, who's doing well and who's not necessarily got a grasp on road courses quite so well.
Yes, and as you say that, the caution comes out for the first stage point being awarded to the top 10. That will be Jesse Sperling, Will Moore. I believe that's, I want to say that's JD Baker. There's the three. What are the three Baker brothers? I apologize to Josh, Jake. The the fifth place driver, Jared Mahan, 38 Keith Ayers. The seven place goes to the 14 of Emil Duna. Eighth, Chris Griffin. Ninth, Joshua Robinson, doing very well here at a road course. They've gotten a lot of practice this season. And then in 10th, it looks like Taylor Locklear will lock up the 10th position in that one truck. So all of those awarded stage points. Let's see what the pit strategy is going to be. Because you can kind of push it. We've seen people push it on fuel, so it's going to be interesting to see. 15 laps in isn't too much, but is it? It's not. I'd imagine worth risking not pitting here under the caution. Trevor, what do you think? What do you think your choice or your thought process would be under this stage caution?
Being that the stages are very short, I would be slightly inclined to take the 20 laps of, non-fresh tires. But honestly, it would all depend on how confident I am in my speed. If I know I've got a fast truck and I think that the top three are gonna stay out, I'd stay out. But if not, then I'd pit. Or maybe if I'm in the back and I know I'm fast or whatever, and I want to move up those positions, that means I can move up those positions and have only 20 laps to hold on to it, or actually less after you factor in all the caution laps. So I do think we could see some people staying out here, as we see the top five go in uh, for tires. So I think that we could see some differing strategies depending on where you want to be on track.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to pull in a majority of the field here in the first stage. Let's see if Jesse Sperling can get in and off of pit row in the lead and, make it out. Or if somebody else is going to come in and, kind of try to jump that with a good pit stop. But, here we are broadcasting here at Van. We are a nonprofit organization that is looking to kind of get our name out there. Somebody did jump him. That will be the 34 truck. He's going to come out with the lead. Will Moore is going to get the advantage of Jesse Sperling as well as Steve Whitmore. So now your top three: Will Moore, Steve Whitmore, and Jesse Sperling. That's definitely going to shake things up for the strategy here. I'm wondering if Jesse Sperling definitely has the speed out front, but does he have the speed to get through traffic in order to kind of grab that lead back? As we come around and follow the pace truck back to the I don't want to call it a short shoot, but the carousel. Coming out of the carousel, I just wanted to mention that we are a nonprofit that is getting our name out there. We are here to help with all things iRacing for veterans. Our goal is to use this broadcast to kind of reach out if you want to, send a donation, or if you're a veteran looking for help with iRacing things. At the moment, we're all ears. Get in the van. We're gonna try to go forward and help as many veterans as we can. If you want to reach out, email veteransandaffiliatednetwork@gmail.com. Also, if you're watching, hey, leave us a comment. Be nice to the algorithm. Help a couple of vets out. We may not be homeless vets, but we are still vets, even though we look homeless, which is why I'm broadcasting without a camera. Anyway, Trevor, what do you think about the rest of this race and how this race is going to go?
I think we're going to see over these next few laps to stage 2, we're going to see a lot of the same that we saw in stage 1. We're going to see some of the top drivers sort of pull away, show off their natural speed. And so I think that we'll see kind of another, I don't want to say the word grudge race, but sort of similar in that they're going to be fighting for position for that first spot into pit row for stage number 3. And so I think we're going to see a lot of that in the top of the field, back in the field of the race in all manners and respects, I would say.
And let's say you're the casual viewer at home and you're watching this. What comment do you think you would leave on the video? Yeah, I would be speechless too. This is great racing. I think I would just talk about how great the racing has been so far this season. The season has been fantastic when it comes to just kind of seeing the skill level of these drivers. There are, so few cautions in these races. It's been super impressive, and I'm really happy that that we were given this opportunity by the broadcast. So as we come around, we are going to come to the green. The pace truck is going to dive in one more time. Stage 1's in the books. Who's going to get stage 2? We are green. Out front, Steve Whitmore and Will Moore kind of battling it out. Oh, Steve Whitmore loose. He's in the wall. Oh, that's a hard. That's a that's a bad place for that to happen.
Oh, geez, and you can see the skip marks.
Man, Steve Whitmore, bad break, but that could have been so much worse. The entire field behind him. Duna, you can see he gets into him, just locks up the brakes right there when you hit that little turtles coming out of the turn. Your car loses all grip. That kind of lifts the tires off the ground as you're going over them, and if you're not straight with your wheel, that the back end of the truck just goes around. Now he's got a lot of ground to make up. Really tough break after kind of getting that done there through pit row to get to second. Now we see Will Moore in the lead, and behind him Jesse Sperling's actually getting challenged. So starting to answer our question, he's got Baker right on his bumper. Going into turn one, Jesse Sperling hopping over that turtle, dude. That was impressive, keeping that car underneath him. But now the question is he waiting on his tires to warm up, or is he trying to save tire at the start to kind of launch an attack later on in this stage? Trevor, what would your thought process be behind the way he's racing, or the way you would race if you were in his position?
So I'd definitely try and tuck up to that rear tailgate because you can really take some air off, especially through the carousel, off of that rear tailgate, giving less downforce, maybe spin the tires a little bit more. But most importantly, you would be lighting up his rear view mirror, and it's going to be putting him on edge. He's going to want to maybe push a little harder, try and get into that, try and pull away a little bit, and so it's going to force, sooner or later most drivers crack, over the course of a race if you're staying on their tailgate. And what that essentially does is opens you up for an overtake, waiting on mistake and being in the right spot to capitalize. But also the negative to that is what if he makes a mistake and you run into the back of him. So I think if I was in this spot, I'd definitely try and close that gap and stay about 3/10 to 5/10 behind, where it's just enough to cause some distress in the mind, but not enough where it could potentially collect you. Or even if you got overspeed coming out of, say, the S's, you could potentially be within striking range to go for an overtake through the bus stop or maybe the carousel. I mean, you could really open up your options there just by staying tucked up to that truck ahead of you. As we see the 43 go for a move around the outside of the second to last corner on the 87 truck. He goes for that crossover, gets into the grass a little bit. Maybe not the best run, but he's still in that spot battling through the last corner. As he gets the over speed, we see him pull ahead, and that is a position. Let's see if he can defend it here going into turn one. He takes that outside line, goes all the way out, assuming that he's trying to keep all that speed going into the S's, and he is able to pull in front of him going into turn number two, and he is able to capitalize through turn number three. Let's see if he gets that overspeed, which we do know that draft can affect on this long backstretch. So let's see here. He's looking maybe to defend into the bus stop, and he is able to defend that 87 truck. As we see a spun car there on that runoff going into the carousel. He's that is the 12 truck. He is slow through the carousel, taking that wider line, and maybe we could see Caleb Sibbett go for another move here one lap later, same spot, and he's slightly disadvantaged. That 12 truck goes in just a little bit too tight. You can see a little bit of damage on that front right tire. It's cambered out a little bit, and Caleb Sibbett is able to go away with 2 moves and 2 laps, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, that 12 truck just got around going into the turn, or going into the bus stop, sorry, and he is in all sorts of trouble. He's got a bunch of cars that are trying to take advantage. You can see him kind of trying to stay out of the way. He's got that damage so critical here at Watkins Glen. Unfortunate break for him. Excuse me. The damage model on these trucks, as we got the 38 around as well, the mental fatigue kind of starting to set in when it comes to this race. A lot of guys that were doing really well earlier are starting to kind of have a little bit of issue with looseness. I don't know if the track temp heated up or if it's just, kind of trying to nail these corners, but a couple guys around. But as I was saying before, the damage models on these trucks, when it comes to hitting the wall or doing something, it will, like Trevor was saying, camber your wheel out, and it'll be an absolute bear to drive. You'll go into a corner and it just won't turn. So we got another truck around. I did not catch the number on that truck, but it looks like he kept going. But you can see it looks to me like this track is heating up a little bit because a lot of the guys are having their the tail end of their trucks kind of kick out when it comes around the corner.
Jesse Sperling just overtook for the lead as Will Moore got into the grass in the carousel. This lap, this just happened. They're in the second to last corner, and Will Moore is not able to retake that first spot. As Jesse actually gets a bad run through the final stretch. We can see. I do believe Jesse does have a bit of overspeed on Will Moore, as Will Moore took that far outside line. Maybe he thought Jesse was about to spin out because it was looking like it there for a second. There is definitely a battle going on for that pole position going into the pits for stage number 2 break.
Yeah, Will Moore definitely trying to put the heat on him, but also, kind of trying to be cautious. I think when they came out, he saw Jesse Sperling's back end kick out a little bit, kind of backed off. It was like I don't know how this is going to go out. And Jesse Sperling was able to catch it and kind of capitalize on him being cautious. But, Will Moore still in the hunt right behind him, trying to kind of track him down, getting a lot through the bus stop. But crazy. Jesse Sperling, an absolute rocket ship coming back to the front on that.
And they are still 0.5 apart. They are definitely within battling range. We could expect to see Will Moore maybe pick up the pace or Jesse slow down a little bit and see them battling again here in the coming laps. I mean, it appears that they're still going for it. Oh, as the 24 hits that inside wall out of turn 1.
Yeah, this is the replay. Christopher Hockley, another victim of that turn 1. Turn 1 and the first turn and the last turn, 90-degree turns. And when you're kind of like going through S's and, like weaving through the bus stop, when you get to those 90-degree turns, you kind of underestimate how much brake you have to use going into the turn. So when you go in there and you come out with a full head of steam, the back end of that truck's going to kick loose. You're going to be on the limit of grip because of the speed you're carrying. And, it'll just go around. Unfortunate event for Christopher Hockley there. As this lead battle still hasn't fallen off. Will Moore has caught the back of Jesse Sperling. I'm starting to wonder if Jesse Sperling, with the track kind of heating up, has used a bit of his tires to make it back there to the front. Somebody else around. And stand by. We're Chris Griffin around. That 12 Dodge Ram not having the debut with the Ram that he wanted. Chris Griffin kind of spinning, going down that carousel, gets way into the grass, comes out, came out with, trying to kind of hustle and get some of that speed back that he lost, and just turns it. Luckily, it was on that runoff and out of the way of everybody. That keeps everything going, but just unfortunate events. We go back to the lead with Jesse Sperling, Will Moore. They are nose to tail and have been for the last few laps of this race. Trevor, I did want to ask you something for the casual viewer at home. when you say overspeed, you want to break it down kind of Barney style, and let those guys at home who maybe not as privy to NASCAR know like what that means when you say overspeed through the turn.
So overspeed is the relative speed to the truck in front of you. Think about it. If you're on the interstate and you're in the left lane, you know, you're going 80, 85 miles an hour, and you've got that truck in the middle lane and they're going 70 miles an hour. That's 15 miles of overspeed you have on the next vehicle in front of you. And so in racing, it's not typically that drastic, but it's definitely a factor in setting up moves. It's just the speed to the vehicle in front of you relative. And so you can really see it play out and be a big factor, especially here at road courses, because that is one of the biggest ways that you can help yourself out in trying to overtake somebody, especially if y'all are at the around the same pace. Just all in setting up overspeed, and that's what I mean by it.
Yeah, definitely a good definition to have if you're looking to get into racing. The speed compare. I think that's a very good definition of it. The speed compared to the trucks around you that you're racing. The truck with the overspeed is obviously the truck that you're going to be looking at to make the pass. But sometimes the overspeed is the window. Sometimes the overspeed is the bug, especially here on road courses with the track heating up. It seems like these guys have a little bit less control of their trucks. Trevor, go ahead.
Will Moore just got loose. He lost about 2 seconds on Jesse Sperling into the second to last corner. He went
Oh,
way
man.
out, almost touched the gravel pit or sand pit there on the outside, but he has definitely hurt his tires with that and hurt his gap to that leader of Jesse Sperling.
Yeah, Jesse Sperling losing time. Fortunately, not losing his truck though. He can get back up there. He's just. It seems like he's pushing a little bit too hard. Do you think that maybe he is kind of struggling with keeping up with the speed of Jesse Sperling this week?
Most definitely, I do think that he is definitely hustling his truck. I've been watching their lap times, very similar lap times, but has appeared that Will Moore has been able to put down consistently fast laps as opposed to Jesse, who has pretty much just been putting down the same lap over and over within the tenth of margin. And so that goes back into our conversation earlier about consistency versus speed. It appears that they have two different formulas for that here at this track.
Yeah, and we're gonna see who will win out today. Will it be speed or will it be consistency? Because you might have a bad first half of the race, especially with stage racing, and then the truck kind of come more to you. Like if you're a driver whose driving style is complemented by loose cars, so we see the like I keep saying the track heating up. The back end's going to kick out a little bit more. Those drivers that are used to the car being very settled and very like easier to settled, being easier to drive but harder to turn, compared to the drivers that are used to cars that have the back end kick out, like the traction from the rear wheels kind of disengage a little bit in order to maintain speed. It's going to be interesting to see as we go along who's going to pick up speed, and or if being consistent and just running consistent lap times, knowing where your truck's at, if that's going to be the formula to win. As you see that this battle, we got the 87 trying to chase down the 14 of Milduna. Milduna with some damage on the front end from that interaction with Steve Whitmore earlier. But the 87 still holding tough. Jason Steptoe. Truck still looks good. You see there from 12th to 15th, Emil Duna, Jason Steptoe, Bryson McGee, and Seth Owens all right there in the mix, trying to kind of battle for position. Seth Owens, he's been, I don't want to say off track too much this race because you're not really off track. There isn't really like a penalty for using the runoffs anymore here at Watkins Glen. But kind of overdrive and trying to get used to this track as it fluctuates throughout the race. And you've seen him avoid Caleb Sibbett earlier. That was a really heads up move by him. But just overdriving the corners is super super dangerous at this track. But it seems like even when he's overdriving, he has very good truck control when it comes to getting it back under him and moving forward. Trevor, you got anything on that?
Most definitely. I think that I think that this I think that this is going to be a big race there at the end. And I'd like to mention that we are coming to, I want to say, our second stage, actually,
Oh,
of
JD
lap
Baker
35.
around. Sorry to interrupt. JD Baker in the S's hits the wall. His truck's smoking. He's going to take it to the garage. Bad break for JD Baker on that one. Just got loose, hit the turtles, disengaged the rear end. That's what I'm saying. A hot track is so much different handling wise when it comes to how well the truck sticks to that pavement. So we're going to ride along. JD Baker was running some good laps too. Having kind of a quiet race this time. Yeah, just gets around, hits the wall. From the outside view, you could see that his truck started smoking. He was done. He will probably be out for the rest of the race. I don't think there's coming back from that damage. Rolling through your top 10, we got Jesse Sperling leading the race. He's got about 3 seconds on Will Moore. Will Moore running second. Then Jared Mahan. Mahan has been very consistent here on road courses, as we saw him kind of roll to the win at Lime Rock. Saving gas. I cannot wait to see this last stage because it's going to be interesting to see if he's able to kind of power play that again. As you see Caleb Sibbett, going back to Caleb Sibbett, he moved Joshua Robinson out of the way. Caleb Sibbett is taking no prisoners this race, running an 8th. A little bit back, he went through. I want to say that he was going into turn 1, gave Joshua Robinson a little bit of a bump, moved him out of the way for eighth position. You see here he comes up, gets to the bumper. He's going to the 12. Oh no, he just got loose. From the front, it looked like he got into him. 17 just gets a little loose coming out of that turn 1, and Caleb Sibbett just capitalized on it. That was great heads up driving there.
Most definitely. And that is a hard overtaking zone there into turn number 2, because if you don't have it calculated right, like you were saying, you can get into that car next to you, really mess their day up. Maybe not so much yours, but you can really mess somebody's day up in turn number 1 and turn number 2, being that it's a hard braking zone going into a very fast sweeping corner that you have to get right. Otherwise, you're just going into the wall through the S's. Oh,
Ooh, Matt
shoot.
Casbaro goes around. Matt Casbaro hard into that wall. He's going to go to the garage. Watkins Glen taking its casualties. Matt Casbaro trying to get out of the way for the leader, Jesse Sperling. Just felt that car. I could almost tell you bar for bar what he was thinking. He felt that car start getting loose, and he tried to correct it, but overcorrected and went straight into the wall. And that's going to end Matt Casbaro's day. A war of attrition today at Watkins Glen. A lot of guys not having the luck they were looking to have coming into this race.
Most definitely. And we are coming to a stage break, actually. Give these drivers a little chance to breathe, maybe get some tires, And the yellow flag is out for stage number 2. That is a wrap on stage number 2, ladies and gentlemen. And we can see our winners here in a second of stage number 2. That is going to be the 29 of Jesse Sperling being your stage number 2 winner. Will Moore, second place. He was able to hold on. The third place is going to be Jared Mann. Fourth is going to be Jason Baker. Fifth, Joshua Baker. We got the Baker brothers, fourth and fifth. Sixth is going to be the number 1, Taylor Locklear. And seventh is going to be the 38 of Keith Ayers. He was able to hold on to it after some early race drama. And right behind him, ironically, is the 43 of Caleb Sibbett, in which he got into that drama with. So that's going to be interesting seeing as the pit stops play out and stage number 3 starts. Ninth is going to be the 17 of Joshua Robinson. And 10th is going to round out the points for stage number 2 in the 70 of Steve Whitmore.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we are coming to stage 2. We're going to go into the pits. Now, Trevor, as you know, we have comments turned on. So anybody who is watching and wants to comment, that helps us. It helps the algorithm. It helps the league. So, you can put anything you want in those comments. You go ahead and drop it. We will read it out as long as it's appropriate. So, Trevor, go ahead. What were some of the interesting comments you guys had last week? I'm interested to hear because I was out last week for a different event.
So last week, one of my favorite parts was seeing sort of who people are pulling for, throwing maybe not throwing money in the ring, but throwing their hat in the ring of who they think is going to come out on top, maybe who wants to who they would like to come out on top, maybe. And most importantly, shout out their driver here on the broadcast. I think it's very, very fun shouting out drivers. And so if you want to shout out a driver, maybe you're Ken, maybe you're not, go ahead, shout it out, whether you like their paint scheme, whatever. And, go ahead, drop in the comments who you think is going to come out on top in stage number 3. I mean, we've had some data from Lime Rock Park, if you were there for that broadcast, and be able to see sort of how these road courses play out. So go ahead, drop a comment on that. But also, we had a comment last week asking us how the dirty air was to play into it. And so if you have any car questions, we are car people ourselves, as we are drivers as well in our downtime. And so we'll be able to answer any questions you have about how the truck's handling. We just had Watkins Glen on Tuesday night where we were actually here at this track, and so it's fresh in our minds. So go ahead, drop a comment if you have any questions, and let's see who y'all's favorite drivers are. So I'll give y'all a few minutes to head that, but in the meantime, I believe Thaddeus is going to do another ad read for VAN.
Do you guys like veterans? Of course you do. Do you guys like racing? You're here, aren't you? Well, if you are a veteran, like veterans, have a veteran that you love at home, that you care for, like your favorite cat. Feed, water, and protect them. And send them over to Van. Here at Van, we are trying to help veterans with everything iRacing, from paints to racecraft to broadcasting. If you want to learn how to broadcast, if you want to be on a broadcast, you feel like you've got the chops for it, are more than willing to train you to come on board and get in the van. We are going to make sure that everybody is treated with utmost respect, and we are also going to make sure that veterans get what they need when it comes to anything iRacing. We are currently in the works to become a 501c nonprofit, and we are looking to help veterans. So if you're watching this, if you're interested, you can send me an email at veterans and affiliated network at gmail.com. Also, if you are a company that's watching this and you are looking to make a donation to Van, you can email me there as well. We are always open to money. We are going to use this money to kind of expand and help veterans do different things. So, if you're bored, if you're a veteran, if you want to learn something, I'll pull up outside in a pretty white van and tell you VAN. Get in the van. Back to you, Trevor.
So we do actually have a couple of comments, and I'm going through right now and actually counting up for one of our questions. So I do believe we have 6 Rams in the field, and we do have a couple of shout outs. So we have 6 Rams running. Now, obviously, Rams are a new addition. In fact, they just got uploaded to iRacing this past Wednesday. So we are excited to see our 6 Ram drivers sort of being the pioneers for this first race with the Rams being available. But also, uh, uh, Chris Griffin is getting a shout out in that question with the Rams. And then also Jesse Sperling, the 29 at the front. And so we have a Chris Griffin fan as long with a Jesse Sperling fan. And we do have some appreciation for this channel that helps some veterans. So thank you for throwing y'all's hat in the ring.
Yeah, thank you for the comments. We appreciate it. We don't just help veterans. Most of us are veterans. I mean, Trevor's a whippersnapper, but Bobby, our producer, is a Marine Corps veteran. He has reached his 20 years, so congratulations to Bobby. I myself was in the Marine Corps from 2010 to 2014, and we have a small but very very sturdy, I guess you would say. Is that what you guys are saying, Trevor? Is that what you guys are saying in college? Sturdy, very sturdy group of veterans with Van who all kind of provide something to the group together. So I'm very excited to be doing this. I'm glad that Emil Duna, the league owner, was willing to kind of give us a shot with the broadcasts, and honestly, I'm overwhelmed by the support um, of my brothers and sisters over here at Van. Uh, so I just want to give a shout out to them while we're under caution because I appreciate them like more than they know. So thank you guys for so much for watching. And we were about to get back to the action. We are coming to the green. Jesse Sperling was able to get back out in front that pit cycle, but look who's beside him. Trevor, we've seen this movie before.
Oh, we have. I'm excited to see this movie play out again. Let's see if there's a different outcome as the green flag waves.
Coming to the green flag. This is the final stage, and this is going to be the race for the win. Jared Mahan already with a win at Lime Rock. Jesse Sperling, I know he wants redemption from that race after getting out fuel saved, for lack of a better term. Jared Mahan able to stretch it far beyond what we thought he was going to be able to do. And Trevor, I think, described it perfectly. It was a feat. Oh, as Seth Owens gets out, he skips out. I don't know if he got damage from that or not. Going through the grass is never good for the truck, but I'm not sure if he hit the wall or not. Oh, just a little bit. I don't know if that's going to be enough to camber the tire, but it definitely is not going to help his chances in this race.
Looking back up front, Jesse Sperling is able to hold on to that top spot as he's got a little bit of a gap to play with for Jared. But again, we have seen this movie play out before where Jared was able to fuel save. So I'm excited to see how this plays out.
It is going to be a nail biter for sure. These two guys, very, very skilled at road course racing. Ooh, as the 34 Will Moore skips out on that, but he's able to keep it in the runoff out of the wall. Good job keeping that truck together. Honestly, that is half the battle here. If you know that you maybe don't have pace to catch the leaders, if you can just keep your truck going in the right direction, as that 38 skips out, and kind of moving forward, you can pick up a lot of spots. We saw in a race that me and Trevor were in earlier this week that attrition is huge here at Watkins Glen. This don't be mistaken by the way these guys are driving. This is a tough track.
It's tough mentally. being that you have to remember the braking zones, remember the different braking techniques, because there are different techniques that you need to employ for different corners, different sort of styles to it, and that's just the nature of road course racing. But also is very taxing on equipment. I would like to mention I want to say how many drivers was it on Tuesday that had equipment failures during this race due to as the 58 gets loose, gets into the number 1 truck. Oh, that's one of the Baker brothers too. Tough break
Yeah,
for him.
yeah, that's a one of those situations of coming out of pit row, trying to explain this with iRacing. iRacing has just updated their tire model, meaning that these tires are supposed to run as true to form in the sim as they would in real life. So you could theoretically get into a real NASCAR Craftsman truck and have these tires feel the exact same as if you were to race it in the sim. And those skills are very transferable. You see it in real life NASCAR with Carson Hocevar. Carson Hocevar has definitely been in a lot of official lobbies. If anybody who does iRacing will tell you, yeah, a lot of guys drive like Hocevar. They don't usually finish the race, but yeah, a lot of guys, and that's a compliment to Hocevar because he's definitely able to put the car in a gap where there is no gap. But going back to the tires, when you come onto track with those tires, they're running cold. In the simulation, as in real life, the air pressure is going to be a little bit lower. The tires need to come up to heat in order to kind of get that rubber a little bit stickier so you have more grip. So when you come straight out of pit row and you try to go at 100%, you're liable to spin the car, especially on a hot track, because of the difference in temperature between the tires and the track. So coming out of the pits and going back to the speed that you were at before without cooling those tires off, you're going to end up spinning your car, which is what you saw there with Mr. Baker. Here we got the battle for 11th, Chris Griffin and Joshua Robinson. These guys doing very well today for road courses. I know generally these guys are oval racers, but they've been really kind of keeping it in there. See Joshua Robinson, his truck almost completely clean. Chris Griffin having a little bit of issues, but he's still in it. Beautiful to see that Dodge Ram, that throwback to Casey Kane. Super cool seeing that in there. And Trevor, what do you think about the performance of some of these guys on track? Who are you looking at, other than obviously the top two, because we know they can get it done? Who are you looking at race wise to maybe challenge Jesse Sperling or Jared Mahan for these podium positions?
Now, looking back, see Steve Whitmore. He's on the tail of Jared Mann, being only 2/10 behind. But also, I was at the stage break looking at the 85 of Jason Baker. I think he could potentially put on a show. And then I do not think this is the last we will see of Will Morris. He's already able to reclaim up to sixth place. So I do think Will Moore's coming. I don't know how far he is coming, but I do think he's going to be seeing a couple of overtakes potentially. But I also would like to mention the 85 of Jason Baker along with the number 1 of Taylor Locklear. But I'd say Will Moore is going to be a mover, and I'd like to see how Jason Baker tackles this Watkins Glen.
Yeah, Will Moore definitely a road course ringer out here. He's I think I compared him to Boris said. It may have been him or may have been somebody else. I had to have to look back, but uh, definitely kind of getting it done here. Able to move through traffic a lot easier than some of these other guys. Steve Whitmore also, if you recall, Steve Whitmore had that incident back I believe it's stage 2. Kind of got into the wall a little bit. You know, Emil Duna got into the back end of his truck, but he is bounced back great as you see him challenge for second. Steve Whitmore definitely putting the pressure on here. Now, he can get past Jared Mahan, but will he catch Jesse Sperling? That would be my question.
Oh, and we see, I want to say that's or Jason Baker. Sorry, he's in the pits right now. He's pitting. He's short pitting the stage. He said, I'm already planning on taking this pit stop. Maybe his fuel window opened, and he's in the pits, potentially doing a gas and go, or he could be taking tires. So we will see how that plays out.
Yeah, short pitting. For those in the audience, those at home, the concept behind short pitting is that if you have enough space before you on the track, like you're not racing anybody, you're not in a particular position to catch anybody. You short pit, you have fresher tires, and with that clean track ahead of you, you can run any line that you want. So now you have fresher tires, you have clean track, and you're able to make up a lot of ground on these guys on older tires, especially if the longer they stay out. The longer they stay out, the slower their lap times are going to be compared to yours. And you can jump 2, 3, 4 spots just by short pitting alone. That's honestly one of my favorite strategies. What about you, Trevor? What would your strategy be other than I don't know, absolutely dominating?
So personally, I typically like to go with the long run strategy, especially if I can get clean air, especially in a race like this where clean air is very important. So I like trying to go out, get clean air, just run my laps, be about as consistent as humanly possible, and then potentially building a gap to the field or whoever I may be racing that week. But try and build a gap if any, and try and stretch my tires and fuel as long as possible because I know that I like long run wear. I may not be the best at it, but I typically make pretty well for myself. And so I personally, if I were in this race, I'd be trying to go for the long run strategy while I can and not getting behind and having to worry about maybe pit out like it cycles out into the field and then for me to run those laps to catch back up to the leaders after they pit, I would have to battle through traffic. So I would try and do the strategy that benefits the clean air the most, being as how important it is.
Yeah, if you're out in that lead, you kind of want to keep that momentum up. And if you're further back, I think short pitting would definitely be the move here, especially at Watkins Glen. With the hot track temperatures, we see the 34 battling, trying to get up to Caleb Sibbett. Caleb Sibbett, you know, quietly moving up through the field. I know he made a little bit of noise at the beginning of the race, but he's up to 5th now. That's pretty impressive, all things considered. He did have damage earlier in the race. It looks to be that he has gotten that fixed, especially under caution. You're less likely to go a lap down here, whereas on ovals you're going to see a lot of you know quicker times for the pace car to come back around. As you see Will Moore challenging him for that 5th place. But Will Moore being super fast today as well. He's been super impressive. I think he's really got a good bead on these road courses, which have been kind of scattered throughout the season. So definitely cool to see how well he's doing up here, trying to get that position on the 43 truck. And he is right on his bumper, man. He's definitely trying to put some kind of move together. As you see him jump to the inside, he's going to try to get him going into that turn 2. Been super precarious. He jumps both of them, but he keeps his truck together. 43 follows in behind him.
I think he's got it. I do think he's got it.
Oh yeah, he's definitely got it. He's running away with it. And
working a little bit of that overspeed, as I was talking about earlier.
Yeah, the overspeed. The one also, we haven't really talked about him. He's had a quiet race this race. Taylor Locklear's up to 4th. After some shuffling with pit row, he's kind of been hanging out in the top 10. Like quietly, kind of, just there, not really making too many waves, but up to 4th place. So he's doing a great job as well.
I've got to say, I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing that he's had a quiet race. That is actually probably one of the best qualities I arguably think that you can have is having quiet races because you know what that means? You're not spinning out. You're not in any kind of trouble. You don't really have to battle anybody and use up those tires. You can just run whatever pace you're at. And so I do think that is a bit of a compliment on Taylor Locklear's fourth place as he's running right now.
Yeah, Taylor Locklear. It's always good to have a quiet race. You do want to make some noise now and then. I don't think I've had a singular quiet race at Watkins Glen though. Not my forte. So it was really cool seeing these guys out here. Really kind of putting on the heat. This is borderline professional driving with the way these guys have been going about it. You see Taylor Locklear there in the carousel. Up on the front straight, the 18 truck had a huge moment.
And speaking of
And
Taylor Locklear, he's actually up 14 positions from where he started. I know we were talking about a quiet race, but that is anything but quiet right there. 14 positions from where he started 50 laps ago. So, hats off to him. And we can see a couple more 7 positions, 5, 3. I mean that is a feat right there in itself because overtaking here at road courses it can be very difficult to do, much less do over and over again, as he has obviously been able to do.
yeah, some of these guys with the opportunity to gain those many positions. You saw Jared Mahan up there. It said up two. He did qualify up there toward the front. But Taylor Locklear definitely showing him how it's done, coming all the way from the back. I'm gonna have to get in contact with Boris Said and ask him if we can make an award in his name because Taylor Locklear would get my Boris Said of the race the road course ringer of the race uh, this time around. Up 14 positions, definitely something to pat yourself on the back for at the very least at the end of this race. See the 34 Will Moore get wide.
Can't really disagree on that comment right there.
Yeah, some guys really kind of getting the hang of this race. I see the 24 back there. 24 having some struggles today. I did see him. He got turned around going into turn one. But he's hanging in there. He's got his truck fixed. He's still kind of trying to make time. You see up there Seth Owens in for pit. But different guys. Definitely interesting to see the way these guys strategize and think about the way they're racing. When you're in a race, whether it be a simulator, Will Moore going through the grass of the bus stop, he's going to have to give up some time there. He'll keep it going, but see when you go through the grass, what comes up for you is a black flag, and you end up having to kind of give up some time and slow down, and that can definitely cost you a lot on track, which is very hard to make up here at Watkins Glen. But he keeps it going. Also,
Yeah.
before I forget, I do want to give a shout out to one of our co-commentators, Barry Stevens. He's not here this week. He had a doctor's appointment. But Barry Stevens, another veteran that works with us, just wanted to make sure that he was included, even though he's not here. Go ahead, Trevor.
I was just gonna point out that that black flag for corner cutting can be a very very big move because a lot of the times you typically it'll give you maybe a second 2 seconds that you have to give up, but you typically lose more than a second or 2 seconds depending on what the penalty is, just because you have to slow the truck down below the racing pace and have to give up that time, and by the time it's ticked down to zero you're well below race speed and you have to build that momentum back up.
Yeah, not too detrimental to Will Moore. as like, he wasn't really like racing anybody for position. But like, let's say you're in the lead and you're side by side with the leader, and you go through that, you have to give up that position. So it could definitely make or break some of these guys' races. As you see, Seth Owens is turned around on the runoff there in turn one, and he'll get it fired back up and going. Seth Owens, it looks like he made a mistake. Um, kind of been doing that throughout the race. A little bit of overdrive in that corner and getting on the brakes a little bit too late, but you know, great job keeping it out of the wall. That's the biggest part. You can turn your truck around, but if you don't have a whole truck when you come back on track, that's when you're really in trouble. So, kind of a pat on the back to him for keeping that truck clean, even though he's kind of had a little bit of struggle today during this race.
Most definitely. And looking up to our leaders, Jesse Sperling actually has a 3 second. Oh, he's actually pitting right now. Jesse Sperling, our leader, is pitting just as I was about to say he had a 3 second gap to P2. So Steve Whitmore is going to be the beneficiary here and be your on track leader right now. We've seen him before where he didn't take tires, he didn't take fuel there in the stage 3 at Lime Rock. So we'll see if he's able to hold on to that gas mileage. But he currently has about a 2 second gap to P2 of Jared Mann. Or sorry, that was Jared. Jared was Lime Rock where he was able to save more fuel. But Steve Whitmore is your leader on track with a 1.8 second gap to P2 of Jared Mann.
Now, I imagine the length of this, and I mean, I've been wrong before, but I imagine with the length of this stage, you're gonna have to pit. So, do you think that's to his benefit, or do you think it's to the detriment that the leader got in at least a lap prior to when he pits?
I definitely think that it's very situational. Um, I think that this could be a very good thing for him. Being that the field, if you look at our track map right there, the field is actually quite spread out right now. So that'll give him enough time to get in, get out, and get back on track and be able to continue putting in fast laps as he has been doing this up till up until now where he had to pit. So I think that this could play to his beneficiary here, especially if he took tires. If he took tires, he'll be able to lap even faster. So we will definitely see if that plays out.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a gamble here. As you see, he went around another lap. Um, if you look at, and if you're paying attention, our boy Bobby put up the track map on the screen. You can see when guys are pitting and when they're coming out. A cool little graphic that we have here at Van, adding kind of to the race with seeing where your favorite drivers at by number, and you know come up on screen that they're pitting. So pay attention to who's getting in, who's getting out. Just so you can kind of maybe gauge fuel mileage, or gauge if somebody's gonna jump a couple spots. If Steve Whitmore's still in the lead, but Jared Mahan, he's only 1.4 seconds back. If I was Steve Whitmore, I would want to pit as soon as possible just to get a jump on the 26 truck, because I know that him and Jesse Sperling are probably going to be my biggest threats here.
Now, I would like to point out we see a 30-second gap, or almost a 30-second gap to P6 of Jesse Sperling. I do think the top four have not pitted. Just based on the gaps on track, you can see that clear, gap differential. And I don't think that's just because people are that much quicker. I do think that just goes to show who hasn't cycled out yet. And so we will definitely see if that gap increases or decreases. As Jared Mann actually pulls into the pits, he said, "It is my time to pit. I'm pitting now." And we'll see as the camera's on him if he takes tires or not. And I think that is going to be the race winning call for whoever takes or doesn't take and goes on to win. I think that would play a big factor into it, because if you take tires, you're going to burn up an extra few seconds where you're going literally zero. You're not moving at all. And so you're going to burn up a lot of time with that. But you'll have fresh rubber and be able to consistently put down faster laps, which I don't think he took tires. I do not believe so. It was just a gas and go. So we will see how that plays out to his advantage here as he cycles out in sixth place. And he is 31 seconds behind our leader, Steve Whitmore. And Taylor Locklear still hanging on second. So we will see how that plays out.
Yeah, that might be the Trevor's take move of the race today. So one thing that I have noticed that's interesting, even though Jesse Sperling just jumped him for fourth, Jason Baker is in and around the same time frame as everybody else. I'm pretty sure that he had pit earlier than the rest of the field. So it's going to be interesting to see if he can maintain position off of that as Steve Whitmore's into the pits. That's going to hand your lead over to Taylor Locklear. But if Jason Baker was able to maintain position for the rest of for the next 15 laps, I think that is also a very good move, with him short pitting and kind of getting himself more in contention when it comes to this win.
Most definitely. And hey, I called it earlier when we were talking about people. I do think Jason Baker, I mean, the Baker brothers have already showed speed. Daytona working together, they've showed speed elsewhere. I do think Jason Baker's definitely in the talk here, as he's only. I'm gonna pull up the live scoring right now. He's only 3 seconds in closing behind Jason Baker. Or wait, sorry, I'm talking about Jason Baker. He's only a second and a half behind Jesse Sperling. Sorry, I was looking at the wrong person. But he's getting within striking range for that P3 spot of Jesse Sperling, and we haven't seen pit cycled out. I do think Jason Baker could put the Baker brothers' name on the podium at least.
Yeah, and you would love to see it. The big EGA and the USMC on the hood. Baker brothers. One of them I know is or was in the Marine Corps. So it'd be cool to see another Devil Dog up there, or at least somebody representing them. So Taylor Locklear and Emil Duna are the only two that haven't gone into pit. Seeing how Jason Baker's kind of catching Jesse Sperling, do you think that with the tire fall off, it's going to kind of even out as you see the 24 around there in the bus stop? But he keeps it off track and re-enters safely. I kind of wonder if with the tire fall off, if that is going to kind of equal out and you start seeing some people start moving up on people if they've saved enough tire. I think that might be what is kind of going on with Jason Baker moving toward Jesse Sperling, kind of inching right now. He's maintaining his interval between him and Sperling, but that's another thing that we would want to consider just because of the new tire model. Nobody really knows how this tire model is going to work at these different tracks. There's been times so far this week since the tire models come into effect where I've seen tires cut down. So it's going to be interesting to see if Jason Baker's saved enough of his tire to make it to the end without the tires being an issue, or if you save enough tire to even mount a charge on Jesse Sperling. So that's going to be a cool factor that a lot of people probably wouldn't consider going into this race.
So I would like to add with the new tire model. No, I talked to you a little bit about it. With my experience from the college series, I had to run the qualifier to get into the Martinsville race, in which it is actually faster to shift at Martinsville. And so this was like right when the tire model came out, and I was sort of playing with it a little bit, and I found that these tires are very temperamental now, especially in these trucks. And so if you get it a little bit wrong, upset the tire, you're going around. If you get it a little bit wrong, the front end goes and you get no bite on the front end. The truck just plows. It doesn't want to turn at all. And if you factor in the downshifts into it, it makes for another factor in the equation. And so these trucks are even harder to drive, in my opinion, than they were, just because keep you have to keep your inputs within a certain threshold, especially in the braking side. Have to keep it within a certain threshold in order to not spin out, much less keep the tires happy. And so I do think that we're going to see, is we have only 12 laps to go, who was able to keep the tires happy for as long as they could so that they can push now that we're getting towards the end of the race.
Yeah, as you can see there on the scoring tower, we have the last time people had pit. The leader right now, Taylor Locklear, is Jesse Sperling passes Emil Duna for second. Duna coming into pit. Taylor Locklear 37 was the last time he was on. And Jesse Sperling with a lot fresher tires, as you can see there as well. Jason Baker with a deficit of 10 laps, which on an oval 10 laps wouldn't be too is already bad enough if you're on an oval, but at a road course, there's a completely different time zone when it comes to tire wear and tire fall off. So Jason Baker doing a good job of saving tire, but now you're seeing Jesse Sperling kind of start catching that leader, and I'm what it makes me wonder is Taylor Locklear able to make it to the end? If we saw that at Lime Rock, is that going to be another factor that we kind of attributed it to this race after Lime Rock, but we weren't ready for that at Lime Rock. There was no way that either of us would have predicted that Jared Mahan was going to be able to make it the entire last segment with the fuel that he had. So I'm wondering if Taylor Locklear, the reason that he's kind of slowing down, is to save gas to try to make it to the end, or if he's going to have to pit. Because right now the deficit between him and Jesse Sperling is 11 seconds in closing. So even if he saves enough, would he be able to kind of battle him at the end?
So I do have one addition to that. I've been looking at Taylor Locklear's lap times, and it is definitely significantly slower. It's about a second slower than Jesse Sperling there in second place, but this has been over the course of a run. And so obviously they haven't pitted. I'm starting to question if they're going to pit at all. And I mean, maybe they want a little bit of broadcasting time. Hey, that's fine too. But I'm starting to really wonder if Taylor has enough to make it to the end, as there's only 10 laps to go, and Taylor's staying out on track. So I'm really starting to wonder, is Taylor Locklear going to do a repeat as to what happened at Lime Rock? I'm very excited to see that.
Yeah, Taylor Locklear definitely in a good position if he can save the fuel. Now, 10 laps to go doesn't sound like a lot, but if you're, I mean, 10 laps to go, it's kind of like that picture, right, of the guy. Like, is two a lot? I don't know. It depends on the situation. Is 10 a lot now coming to 9 to go? Well, at a road course, yeah, 10 is a lot of laps to be trying to save fuel. But what's fortunate is like you have these downhills. Like yeah, you have the uphills too, but you have these downhills where you can clutch in and try to save as much fuel as possible going around these turns, and yeah, you'll run slower lap times, but when you have that buffer of 9 seconds, just how much fuel can you save coming to the end of this race? And that might be what Taylor Locklear is doing because everybody's pitted. He's the only one out there, so if he can make it, that would be once again a feat and something that I think everybody watching who does iRacing should probably start considering at these road courses because it's definitely been the winning strategy if Taylor Locklear can pull it off.
Most definitely. And with that, I mean, 8 to go. I mean, the laps are definitely ticking down quick. I mean, they're running what about a minute and some change, a minute and 10, 15-second change uh, lap times. So I mean, there's not that much racing left. Maybe a bit more than it would be at oval with 8 to go, but there's not that much time left. I'm starting to wonder, can Taylor, if assuming Taylor can make it to the end, how much time can they save on second place Jesse Sperling, who's obviously been putting down blistering laps all race? Can they hold him off? If so, hey, maybe we've got our winner already decided. We will see.
Yeah, Jesse Sperling putting down almost a second faster lap time than his fastest lap right now. He's really trying to run down Taylor Locklear. It would be an absolute shame if this happened to Jesse Sperling again. Jesse Sperling at Lime Rock losing to Jared Mahan after Jared Mahan did some extreme tire saving, extreme fuel saving, I should say, because that's what won him the race was the fuel. He literally was sputtering across the line, and I think he had just enough fumes to do one donut, but he crossed the line in first, and that was the strategy. So, everybody kind of sitting on the edge of their seats. Can Taylor Locklear save just enough to make it to the end of this race? I mean, thus far he's really been kind of putting down as much as he can in order to get into the position he's in. I would hate to have to see him lose that over running out of fuel, but what is the risk versus reward? I mean, the biggest reward is winning a race. That's what we're all here to do. So I like the call, especially after it working at Lime Rock.
Hey, that almost sounds like a poll-worthy comment. Oh, as we see him pull into the pits, maybe a bit too late on that poll, but hey, nonetheless, amazing fuel strategy of trying to stay out as long as they can because whether that's the winning strategy or not, you can't deny how much time that saved on track by not having to fight through the pit stops. So, maybe that was their call from the beginning. Taylor said, "You know what? I don't feel like fooling with coming out around people. I'm just going to pull as big a gap as I can on everybody else and then pit as late as possible," which I mean, like I said earlier, that'd be my strategy, you know.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't fall too far back. He's now back in sixth, and he has a good buffer between him and the seventh place driver, the 43 Caleb Sibbett. So not a bad strategy call at all. And I mean, smoke him if you got him. If you can save as much fuel as possible and get the car out front, get some air time for WeatherTech. Obviously, a big Connor Zilch fan, Mr. Locklear, but it, it I don't hate it. It was definitely something that could have won him the race. It obviously didn't, but still coming out in sixth, you got a top 10. That's goes huge, huge direction for points. Um, Definitely not a bad call. But that's going to hand the lead back over to Jesse Sperling, and Jason Baker's still only 3 seconds back. So if he's going to push, I think now would be the time for Jason Baker to push, unless he wants to kind of, just settle for second. I don't think anybody on track wants to settle for where they're at, except for Jesse Sperling, but definitely a good call on him too for short pitting. So it seems like the call would either be to go long or go short. But anywhere in between, you're going to kind of get mixed up and really not have that chance for the win.
Most definitely. And looking over at the lap times, Jason Baker, his fastest lap is 3/10 faster than Jesse Sperling's last lap, but he is running about 4/10 slower as of this last lap. So if we are able to see any pace out of him, we need to start seeing it now. As I do believe he is starting to push a good bit, as we have 5 left in this race, coming to 4 to go. Actually, I do
Yeah,
believe.
I wonder if the slower laps were him saving fuel because now he's tight on fuel. Him pitting when he did, like, yeah, it's good to short pit, and if he saved enough tires, that also plays into it. But can he make it on fuel and get a podium position? It seems as though his crew chief just gave him the green light to start firing it up because he is definitely gaining some time on Jesse Sperling.
He ran about 8/10 faster that last lap, putting him at interval of plus 2.4 seconds roundabout. So he's definitely closing on Jesse Sperling here late in the race. So we'll definitely see how that plays out. But as we're talking, we've got the battle for 4th place of Will Moore and Jared Mann and on screen right now, and I've got to say, Will is definitely on that rear bumper of Jared. He said, "I know it's not the podium. I know it's not in the interviews, but I want this. I need the points. I need it now." And he is able to seal it through the last corner. Let's see if he's able to get the drive off to seal that position, as Will is, or Jared, sorry, is actually pulling out, give him a little bit of a rear view mirror there, but no, he is able to hold on to that position going into turn 1.
Yeah, Jared Mann definitely very courteous going into that last turn by kind of giving him that space, but it might have been kind of a move to, yeah, go ahead, I'm going to get you on the back end. All these guys still trying to save a little bit of tire. Even with 3 to go, like you can't risk it too much on tires. You don't want to push it and cut a tire because now that is possible. Cutting a tire, like I said earlier, is very possible here with this new tire model. So good heads up racing by the both of them. Will Moore making the move and keeping the pass, and Jared Mahan kind of giving him the inside and giving him that space. There's a lot of respect between drivers, so that's part of the reason I really enjoy watching these races. And Jesse Sperling's still out front. This might be the redemption day because he has started running away from Jason Baker again. He was saving a little bit for the end of it.
Now, I do see the times starting to fall back in Jesse's favor. He's 3 seconds ahead of Jason. So I do think Jesse has this. He just has to continue putting in these good laps.
Yeah, Jesse Sperling definitely capitalizing on having a little bit fresher tires. The space between him and Jason Baker kind of waxing and waning. Jason will gain in a certain segment of the track, and Jesse will gain a certain segment of the track. So right now we got 2.7 seconds back. So he gained 3/10 through that first segment of the track, but we're coming to 1 to go. 3 seconds. I don't see him coming back and getting the win, but a second place, definitely a solid run for Jason Baker. But right now, all eyes are on Jesse Sperling. He's going to have a mistake-free lap, and he has got this in the bag.
I tell you what, that Jesse Sperling fan's probably up off the couch and probably shouting in excitement right now because Jesse has one part of a lap. I mean, coming about half the lap, and he'll have this one. Would be able to get redemption off of Lime Rock, where the winning strategy was actually fuel save. But hey, maybe the winning strategy here is actually to not save fuel. So we will see coming through the carousel right now.
Jesse Sperling running a perfect race. No nicks or cuts on that beautiful Silverado with the Vickers Auto Parts on the front. He's going to make one more turn and he can call himself a winner in the 2026 season at the HPRL League. Jesse Sperling doing a little wiggle there at the end for the fans is the winner here at Watkins Glen. He has captured the crown at the road course. Redemption for the 29.
Oh, you can just tell he is excited about this one immediately going into the burnout. Congratulations, Jesse Sperling, your winner for unofficial winner for tonight's race, I must say.
Jesse Sperling, your winner. Second place goes to Jason Baker. Third place, Steve Whitmore. Fourth place, Will Moore. He battled back from a lot of adversity. Jared Mahan locks down fifth place. Sixth place is going to be Taylor Locklear. Seventh place is going to be Emil Duna. 43 of Caleb Sibbett's going to bring up eighth. The ninth place car is going to be Joshua Baker. He did a good job of rallying back, and the 10th is going to be rounded off by Chris Griffin.
11th place is going to be the 17th, Joshua Robinson. 12th is going to be the 38 of Keith Ayers. 13th is going to be the 83 of CJ Brewer. 14th is going to be the 3 of Seth Owens. 15th is going to be the 87 of Jason Steptoe. 16th is going to be the 02 of Bryson McGee. 17th is going to be the 24 of Christopher Hockley. 18th is going to be the 18 of Jerry McKinney. 19th, the 78 of JD Baker. And 20th is going to be 13 of Matthew Casbaro.
Not the day that the 61 of Keenan Kimber wanted to see, but he is going to be in 16th. 42, and finally rounding out the end of the field, Aaron Longworth with issues at the beginning of the race. He's going to be in that final position, 65 laps down. So guys, let's bring it into the booth for the top three here at Watkins Glen. What a fantastic race. We're going to start with your third place finisher. That's going to be Steve Whitmore. Steve, this is Thaddeus in the booth. Do you copy?
I gotcha.
Steve, a lot of you ran strong all day. How do you feel about your last stint there?
Well, yeah, obviously it could have been better. I had nothing for Jesse. Really thought taking two and fuel at that last pit stop was going to be the way to go to at least get second. And I couldn't even secure that. So I lost a spot from where I started.
I mean, still a solid run, third place. I know you're used to dominating, but still very very reputable run there here at a very difficult track. So it was definitely impressive watching you. Trevor, what's your question for Mr. Whitmore?
So overall, what was? I know you said you took two, and you thought that that was going to be the at least second place winning move, but walking back earlier in the race, overall, this is stage racing where you have two, three different races. What was your strategy going into this? What was your defining? I'm going to use this, and it's going to get me places.
I just was taking what I did over the winter series. The last race we ran here. The winner there took two tires to where I took, I think, no tires, or maybe I took all four, and that's how he beat me. So I used that strategy this time, thinking I could at least score a second place. I knew I had nothing for first place at all.
Well, one more question before you go. Next week we have Darlington. How do you feel about your chances there?
I ran strong last season at Darlington with HPRL, so I think I'll still have something there for the guys.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's Steve Whitmore. Do you have anybody that you want to give a shout out real quick?
Just shout out to Duna and HPRL. Appreciate you guys putting on the races and for the broadcasting that you guys do. I've sat and watched a few of them after the fact, and uh, pretty good job.
Thank you. I appreciate the compliment. But no, great job tonight, man. Appreciate you coming up here in the booth and look forward to watching you at Darlington.
Thank you.
All right, next up, we're going to have second place driver Jason Baker. Jason, you got a copy?
Yeah.
Jason, second place with that Marine Corps scheme. I'm loving it. In that last stint, we were kind of watching the difference between you and Jesse. Were you saving it all coming up to that last
No.
stint?
No. No. I was giving it everything that I had. I didn't take tires on the pit stop. I only took fuel. So I was trying to give it everything I had just to get back to him once he got into lap traffic.
But
See if he could give me a chance.
that was an incredible performance. Honestly, you didn't take any tires.
No, I didn't take any tires. So you had all four of us were like right there within half a second of each other. Jared was up there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't go anywhere. So I just, as soon as the pit window opened, I just pit and took the fuel, and from there it was everything that I could get every lap.
Well,
Because I
that was
wanted to try to get enough time back on track. If I could match the leaders and they ran, way my mind was thinking was if they ran, damn near the whole fuel run, maybe they'll take tires. And then if I'm just matching them lap for lap, that'll put me out, 10 seconds, which Jesse was lights out tonight. He probably still would have ran me down had he, had it played out in my mind. But Jesse took tires and he still came out 5 seconds behind me. So there was no
yeah.
holding him off tonight.
Jesse was an impressive performance, but that's definitely impressive that you didn't take tires because you were actually gaining on him towards the end
Yeah.
there, and they
Yeah,
leveled out.
I was getting him about a half a second a lap for those last I don't know, 4 or 5 laps.
But
I think once
that,
he got through the lap traffic, there was nothing I could do. Those
well,
guys
man,
were fighting for position. So
the Devil Dog, I still think you were eating your Wheaties, dude. That's still super impressive, man. That definitely
that's
pat yourself on the back.
it was a hell of a run. I mean, I start out with the EOL pass through and finish P2. I mean, it's a decent points day.
Yeah, most definitely. Trevor, do you have questions for Mr. Baker here?
So, Jason, I've
Yeah.
got to ask. Me personally, I don't typically, like you were saying, push everything it's got every single lap here at road courses. So I've got to ask, how did you get that done? Where you were just pushing hard as you can, getting every bit of what the truck can give you for the entirety of that run. Like talk us through what that was like. I mean, it's definitely a feat inning of itself. Even though you came up with silver, that is definitely something to be proud of right there.
Honestly, I wish I could tell you, but I'm trash at these road courses. I just try to get what I can, and it's just that's it. So, but for some reason, everything was clicking for Watkins Glen tonight, and I was able to run it pretty well, and at the beginning of the run, keep the lap times right in the high 113s, and I think maybe just saving that tire on the early runs, not running those 13 zeros and things like that. Maybe that's why. But the other thing is like if you abuse it without spinning or sliding, it's almost like it likes it. So that's, I mean,
I can
straight
definitely
up,
see
I don't
that.
know what I'm talking about when it comes to road course racing.
Well, you
I just
definitely
lucked
do
out.
now because you got a P2. You have anybody that you'd like to shout out, Jason?
I mean, my brothers, we trying to stick all this stuff together, and we race together in a couple leagues, and that's about it.
All right. Well, super impressive
Doing it for
performance.
running the league. Wow.
Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely. No one else, not even the orphanage.
I'm sorry. I had something like pop up on my damn screen and it was playing so loud. What was the last question? I'm sorry.
No, I said nobody else that you want to thank, not even the orphanage.
No, 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 no. Not even the orphanage, man.
All right. Well, great job tonight, man. Super fun watching you guys, and look forward to see you at Darlington next week.
Thank you guys for doing the broadcast, and hopefully I got another good run in me at Darlington next week.
Yes, sir. I have no doubt.
All right. Thank you.
No problem. Next up, we got your winner tonight. Redemption at the Glen. Jesse Sperling gets his road course mojo back. Jesse Sperling, what did you think of your last run there, and kind of keeping the Wolves at bay with Jason Baker trying to run you down?
Well, my hands are asleep. I was gripping the wheel so tight, just trying to make time. But Vickers Auto Parts Chevy was fast tonight.
Oh yeah.
I've spent a lot of time practicing for the last couple weeks, and this is one of my favorite tracks. Always has been. If I get on iRacing and just tool around, it's this track. Just trying to see where I can gain an advantage, and it's been fun. I've really enjoyed this week leading up to this. Just getting to practice with my teammates Josh and Caleb, and getting a little faster on the track.
Yeah, you definitely put in the work and it paid off. One of the questions I had when you saw Taylor Locklear out in the lead, um, I ki- I if I were in your position, my first thought was PTSD to Lime Rock and whether or not he's going to be able to just keep the car going till the end, and don't want to see you lose another race like that. But were you ever worried about that during that last run or no?
It was like I was living my worst nightmare again. Not really, but I was wondering, and I had Josh was right behind him, and he was telling me that he's not really saving. He's going all out, so that kind of gave me some assurance that he would have to pit at some point. But I made the pit stop before Steve and Jared, and I was thinking the same thing. I was like, man, are they going to pit? Did I just make another mistake? But I felt confident that even if they did uh, stretch it out, that I'd be able to get at least close to them.
Yeah, you were definitely making up a lot of time on him. Trevor, what's your question for Mr. Sperling for our race winner here at the Glen?
First off, I'd like to mention to you, you've actually got a little following here on the broadcast. I know you've been, I want to say you got shouted out last week. Well, you got shouted out again, and I'm sure that feels really good to get some redemption after Lime Rock.
It
But
does. It feels really good, man.
uh,
Yeah, they get me. They get me every week. They're like, send me the link, send me the link, and I have to send them the link and let them know what's going on.
Yes, sir. Well, you've definitely got some love going on behind the scenes. I mean, I'm especially happy for you. I know we saw you immediately go into that burnout, but my question for you is going to be: I know you pitted a bit early. I'm gonna ask kind of a two-part question here. Was that sort of, how are your tires doing, and how hard were you pushing your tires? Because I mean, you were putting in blistering laps. I know we just saw the Baker brother. He was pushing all the truck had, and he was only able to reclaim a couple of tenths on you over the course of a couple laps, but you were just consistent right out the gate. You was fast all night. You was able to control things quite well. How hard were you pushing this truck, and how well were your tires at the end?
I didn't let up the whole race really. I was just going all out. I knew the stages kind of played out to where you could push it and still be really fast at the end of the run. It was getting a little squirrely coming out of the S's, especially out of the first turn when you get back on the throttle. But it never felt out of control, and I just kept pushing. I didn't let up.
That is a big feat, especially at a road course. It's hard hustling these trucks, especially over the long run. So hats off to you, brother.
Thank you, man.
Mr. Sperling, do you got anybody that you want to shout out tonight? The floor is yours.
Yeah, man, I'd like to shout out everybody watching, my aunt, my mom, really about the whole family, it seems like now.
Hi,
Um,
guys.
my wife, my little girl, Josie, Figures Auto Parts. They're sponsoring the race next week. I'd like to thank them for that. Thank you guys out for doing the broadcast. And thank Duna for putting on the league. It's a special one. And thank my teammates, Josh and Caleb. We've been dogging this track all week trying to make time.
Absolutely. And thank you for taking the time for the interview and for putting on such an amazing show. I appreciate all you guys here.
Thank you, man.
No problem. Well, ladies and gentlemen, what a race here tonight at Watkins Glen. From the drop of the green flag to the final lap, these drivers put on an incredible show. Navigating one of the most challenging road courses on the schedule, if we're being honest. Congratulations to Jesse Sperling winning, getting redemption from Lime Rock, and getting a good broadcast for it too, because uh, it's amazing seeing him race out here. You know, all the drivers that battled their way through the field had an intense night of the HPRL Truck Series. For Trevor, I'm Thaddeus, and a big thank you to Bobby in the back, beautiful Bobby B, doing all the pulling of the strings and kind of teaching at the same time. He's a fantastic broadcaster. Trevor, my beautiful boy of a co-host, um, and all of you for watching. We'd also like to give a special thank you to everybody at Van and the broadcast team for helping bring tonight's race together. Like I've been saying, I appreciate everybody on this team. Great broadcast. Next week, the HPRL Truck Series. Oh, and Emil Duna, the lead gunner. I don't want to forget him. He's a great guy, and I'm once again honored to be doing the broadcast for this league. Next week, speaking of the HPRL Truck Series, we will go to the legendary Darlington Raceway, where the drivers will try to tame the Lady in Black, and she is beautiful. Not everybody's cup of tea, but every time I see her, I always love her. Thanks for watching. Next week, we will see you at Darlington.